Episode: The Crime Lord and St. Lucia Caribbean Sterling Services Bodyguards. We were armed and ready to confront the big boss, the Crime Lord of St. Lucia. We prepared for many contingencies and unexpected scenarios. We planned to bring a veritable arsenal with us on our journey. We had our camouflage electric E-Jeep from Linus to ensure we were incognito. We waited until nightfall to begin our mission to confront and potentially terminate the big boss, the Crime Lord of St. Lucia. He lived in a remote area called Gilly Point. Well, we headed out, with Bob driving our acquired Sterling Services electric E-Jeep. Our plan was simple, as laid out by our recent allied relationship with Sterling Services Bodyguards senior manager, Linus. We were to wear military green pants and shirts with a dark green security vest, which was the standard uniform apparently for Sterling Services Bodyguards. A side effect of our blending in uniform plan was that it required that Bob leave his signature beret behind, so that he could fit better in and not be extra identifiable and noticeable by the guy that wears a black beret on the beach. Once we were at the Crime Lord's estate, we were just to drive the E-Jeep straight up to the entry gate, posing as the next shift security guard team. Again, just pull up to the security gate, enter the gate code just like we belong there. The gate opens, and of course we just drive on in, head on through, drive apparently down a long road to a roundabout that is right there in front of the Crime Lord's main house front door. And so we would just park and head in, where we will naturally relieve the current guard team, and thus we will become the new guard shift. And once inside, free to roam, we will find, and as necessary, terminate the Crime Lord. Taylor challenged vehemently. This plan is actually an idiot's plan that makes total fools of us if we actually go through and do it. Taylor insisted, the idiot's plan is idiotic. It relies entirely on huge, massive, stupid assumptions. Taylor began her assessment breakdown of our stupid assumptions and plan. Assumption number 1, a car full of unknown foreigners just drives up, enters a gate code, and keeps on driving right through a security gate, all the way to the main house and its front door. And all the way, no one ever notices or reacts to anything. Taylor punctuated her point by acting like she was dazed, blind, and confused, and oblivious to all things that were around her. And she said, and there's more on assumption number 1, that we are miraculously not noticed entering the estate anywhere. So we're to believe that there are no automated cameras, there are no security detection systems, and that there are no secret additional security protective reaction countermeasures. This alone should cast serious doubt on our so-called plan. Taylor continued, and then there's assumption number 2. We are to believe that a trained professional bodyguard team will just hand over security, responsibility, and total control to a group of strangers that they have never met, solely because a senior manager called them and told them to expect us. And then because we just drive up in one of their company jeeps. That gives us credibility. Come on, this is not realistic. Taylor finished her tirade by just saying, my conclusion about all of this stupid, idiotic plan is that the entire plan relies on professional security guards not noticing or questioning anything, on security measures and systems being unrealistically absent or ineffective. And the plan relies on someone we just met doing precisely as promised. And most importantly, that person does not betray or set us up for a trap. I really think that we should make a different plan, Taylor implored. Katie assured everyone, remember, no one ever lied to us. They believed everything they said to us. They believed it was all true. No one tried to deceive us. And remember, we're doing this plan as part of our deal with that voodoo witch Katrina Vex. And we need it to bypass and get through whatever dangerous security stuff they have. Katie concluded, so without a better plan, why are we now questioning the one we already have? And the one that we've even already started out on? Well, Taylor responded and countered bitingly. Because the plan is stupid. That is why we should question the idiotic plan. Taylor acquiesced, however. You know, whether the plan is stupid or not, it does not affect my commitment. I am here for all of us, one and all. I vowed to protect, and that is what I will do. Taylor, with a mocking, exaggerated smile, said, of course, I will always defend our team, even if I am protecting everyone from their own stupid choices and terrible bad plans. I will protect the team and defend our mission. Taylor smiled playfully and saluted the team. Bob just looked over and grumbled, great, sounds really smart. We go in with the idiot's plan. Great. With all that consternation and discussion over, we drove right up to the estate's main gate as planned at 8 p.m. sharp, as instructed by Sterling Services Bodyguards, Senior Manager Linus. Bob leaned out of the E-Jeep window to enter the gate code that Senior Manager Linus had written down for us on a map of the island. The map showed us where to find the crime lord's estate. But surprisingly, Bob never had a chance to enter the gate code at all. Instead, a metallic, tinny voice screeched, "Who are you? I don't recognize you. And who are all those people with you?" We were all taken by surprise by unexpectedly being watched, presumably by a camera, as we approached the estate gate, and further by being challenged and questioned about who we were, all when we were supposedly just going to drive up undetected, unnoticed, and discreetly enter the gate code and nonchalantly drive in as if we belonged there. I muttered, mostly under my breath, I guess being in hell difficulty ensures nothing goes to plan, ever. Bob was surprised by the unexpected questions and being watched as they tried to enter the gate. Taylor glared at me, a very clear, "I told you so." And she said quietly, "I think the idiot's plan is going as well as expected." Well, Bob responded to the tinny voice after an awkward and uncomfortable pause that ended our collective, silent, stupefied, and dumbfounded selves. Bob answered the tinny gate speaker's screeching voice, we're the new shift. I'm new, I'm on trial, and you know, they put me on stupid probation and stuff. Just tell me what I gotta do and where I gotta go, okay? I want this job to work out. I like it here on the island. I want to stay. It seemed that Bob was trying to spin the tale that he was a foreigner, now working for Sterling Services Bodyguards, as a new hire, but was on probationary trial basis. Honestly, it sounded like a pretty good cover, especially for having no time to have thought of it or prepare for it ahead of time. I guess Bob's corporate Toastmasters speech and impromptu topic talks actually worked out and helped him. It gave him the practice that he needed to enable him to be right here, convincing in real time, in the moment, with his spin. Katie squirmed in her seat, though, and looked disapprovingly at Bob as her truth-bearer palm tattoo flared, informing Katie that Bob was lying. Well, the screeching metallic intercom voice said simply, "Okay, in an apparent acceptance of Bob's spun answer, and the estate gate began to open, without Bob ever having entered the code at all. We drove up a very long driveway with foliage and plants on all sides. Curiously, there were Polynesian statues lining both sides of the road. Soon we approached a roundabout in front of the estate mansion, where there were more Polynesian statues, as well as Polynesian tikis and totems. They all surrounded the residence, like guardians watching over the estate. We could see from the roundabout that the windows were draped with some kind of webbed cloth that seemed to have little shining talismans woven throughout it, little faces and dolls and strange things. The bottom line, nothing at all about the crime lord's estate or house felt Caribbean at all. It felt completely out of place on the island. Sarah, Taylor, Bob, Katie, and I, well, we exited the Jeep. It was relieving to get out of the car, as it felt cramped with all 5 of us inside. 4 security guards wearing sterling security bodyguard vests exited the front door, and they approached us. One of the guards, an especially big brute of a man, walked up to Bob. He looked closely at Bob, examining him, and he said, "Probation, huh? All of you? Right." He just concluded, "Welcome to the Sterling team." The guard gestured to us that we should head inside. He and the other 3 guards continued on, leaving. They walked toward what was presumably their E-Jeep, which was parked also nearby, off to the side of the roundabout. We looked at each other and headed inside the mansion. It was actually going to plan for once. We walked with an air of authority and confidence, as if we knew where we were going. We entered the estate foyer and paused, looking around to decide where we should go. But suddenly, a grinding and humming metallic sound echoed into the foyer everywhere, into the vaulted entry, and zapping electrical arcing sounds soon joined the humming, metal-grinding, resonant cacophony echoed and was overwhelming. The sounds were suddenly followed by eerie green laser beams that shot down all around the entry and exit points of the foyer. And then the lasers surrounded each of us personally. It was as if there was some kind of artificial intelligence, an AI, in the ceiling or in the chandelier that was watching each of us and specifically targeting each of us to encase and entrap us in our own personal, complex, ever-shifting jail cell of flesh-cutting green lasers. The lasers effectively formed a large prison cell out of the foyer and many individual prison cells, jailing each of us further individually within their bars of flesh-cutting laser beams. There it was. We were in a blink of a laser's eye, trapped inside laser-barred bird cages. There was no way out, it seemed, from our jail cell of flesh-slicing prison bars of laser light. Taylor just glared at me, without words. Another, "I told you so." Well, I guess she was right. The plan apparently really was an idiotic, stupid plan. Well, the entry door behind us that we had entered from swung open with its lasers opening a pathway, and stepping through it were the 4 bodyguards that had allegedly changed shifts with us and who had presumably previously left in their E-Jeep, but obviously they did not leave. It was all a setup. It was a trick. They led us through that gate. They let us walk right into the trap. And now they returned armed with shotguns. And they were aiming their fine weapons at us, clearly ready to shoot. Taylor did not hesitate, and she commanded, "Stand down. We're beat. Accept it. We go forward from here." I nodded and said on behalf of the entire team, for everyone to hear, I said simply, "Hoo-ah!" For heard, understood, acknowledged, so that everyone would be on the same page and stand down without doing any potentially unsafe, unwise, even stupid heroics that may well just get us all killed. Well, soon after being trapped in the foyer laser birdcage, an elderly man with a full head of white and gray hair, wearing all black, entered the foyer from an adjoining room, again with the lasers parting just enough for him to walk through safely and then closing behind him. The old man with steely eyes scanned us as his captives, and he smiled wryly, and then he spoke playfully, like how a cat might welcome a mouse as its toy and potential prey. The steely-eyed old man spoke. Well, the G-Team has deigned to visit me in my very own home. The man added, and everyone's here, except for Tiny, your driver and pilot. No matter. You, Rick Liberty, or should I say, Richard Seaborn. Or maybe I should call you Richard Searborn, as the Knights Templar asked me to do so long ago. The man smugly said, well, you, Rick Liberty, are the only one that truly matters. Sarah looked shocked and in dismay, and she exclaimed aloud, You're Silver! You're Silver Seaborn! You're Rick's father! Sarah declared in an epiphany, Silver is the crime lord that runs St. Lucia's criminal underbelly and controls its syndicate of extortion and suffering. Sarah remembered and noted aloud again for us, Of course, we knew that Silver ran a smuggling operation in the Caribbean under the facade of his pseudo-legitimate airline business, Silver Airways, and his business, Silver Seaborn Airlines. We just didn't know that he was here in St. Lucia. Clearly, your father does a lot more than just smuggling. Sarah coyly tilted her head and said, I suspect we are staying at one of Silver's remote airports. How ironic it is, I suppose, that our RV plane, our home base, is actually there parked on the beach of your father's own illicit for smuggling remote airport. She ended her speech simply saying, ironic, so ironic indeed. Well, the crime lord, who is now clearly my father, Silver, looked at us as we were trapped inside his cages of flesh-cutting lasers, and he said tersely, Rick, please indulge my presentation, as I believe there is much to speak of here. Silver, with deep, woeful eyes, spoke, You are my son. It is true. You are my son. I imagine that you think I abandoned you all those years ago. When you were, 6 months old? Silver winced, looking downward at an angle and then to the left, and he said with a cold tongue, You were not compatible with my life. You were incompatible. So I did you a favor, and I spared you from the hard and dark life that I led. You were better off for it. The then seemingly withdrawing and detached Silver continued, I don't regret at all leaving you. I am glad to have made you alone, so that you had to find and define yourself by yourself. You did not need me to coddle you or to hold you like a little baby. You needed to grow up fast, smart, and strong, and become independent. I helped you be just that, free, powerful, and independent. Silver, with a strained and dubious smile, shared, Have you ever heard the song called A Boy Named Sue? Sung by one of my favorites, the man in black himself, Johnny Cash. Let me share some meaningful lyrics that I like from A Boy Named Sue that I think may also well apply to you as my son. Silver recounted his favorite key lyrics from Johnny Cash's song, A Boy Named Sue. "Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to Ma and me. Now I don't blame him, 'cause he run and hid. But the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue. Well, he must have thought that it was quite a joke, and it got a lot of laughs from a lot of folks. Seems I had to fight my whole life through. I'll tell you, life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. Well, I grew up quick, and I grew up mean. My fist got hard and my wits got keen. Son, this world is rough, and if a man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough." Silver looked particularly proud of his Boy Named Sue speech and its apparent message to me. Bob could not contain himself, and he commented, "How about that? Like father, like son, Rick and Silver both go off on tangent topics at very weird, random, inappropriate times. We're trapped, lives in danger, and your father Silver quotes a bunch of song lyrics. Come on, let's get serious," Bob demanded in frustration. Well, I answered Silver's narrative where he was trying to justify abandoning me as a baby at 6 months old. I challenged him and I said, "You can dress up your abandoning me at 6 months old however you like. But the truth is simple. You left me. You cannot be forgiven for that," I decried. Silver looked surprised, and he barked back at me. "No, that's not true. Your mother, she left me, and your mother took you from me. And when I took you back, she called the police and had them arrest me with false charges. And they made the police take you back to her. I even tried years later to see you and your mother, but your grandfather, he threatened my life with a shotgun. And so I did what he asked, and I left you alone." Silver concluded, "You see, I did not abandon you. In fact, you were taken from me as a baby, stolen, very much against my desire and my will." Katie interjected, "He's telling the truth. At least as he sees it, he believes it to be true, which, honestly, is a bit alarming to me." Katie continued, "I just fully realized something. I only know if people think they're deceiving me. I don't know if they're actually wrong, just ignorant of the truth. Maybe they don't know they're lying at all. Your father, he could still be lying to us, but out of his own ignorance, or out of delusional pride, out of sociopathy and insanity. Who knows?" Sarah quickly said, "It's like people believing in a false god or a fake religion. They sincerely have faith in their misplaced beliefs, but they are wrong, and they will be damned to hell for all eternity for not believing in the one true God and in Jesus." Katie resumed her emoting of her inner conflict and began to speak. "I don't know what to think now about your dad and everything that we thought we knew about him. Did he leave you because he's a deadbeat, abandoning scumbag? Or did he leave you because your mother's selfish actions made him abandon you? Maybe he didn't abandon you at all. He just left." Katie said, "Well, either way, he never tried to see you again, so there is still that damning fact." Silver replied to Katie directly, "Katie, is it? I assure you, I am a man of my word. I promised, I vowed to Rick's grandfather that I would never reach out to Rick or his mother again, and so I never did. And I believe firmly Rick grew into the man that he was destined to be, because I let him be on his own, to learn and grow on his own, and to become his own man. Silver said, I have no regrets. I am sorry if Rick does, but I have no regrets. Silver shifted topics. Let's get back to the present, shall we? I could let you go, but it might end poorly for me. Who knows what you might do? Or maybe it would end very poorly for you and your friends. We cannot know what would happen if I let you go. Silver grinned, and he spoke further. I know that Katrina Vex sent you to kill me. You met Linus, senior manager at Sterling Silver Services Bodyguards, right? Linus and I have a good relationship. He made sure to let me know of Katrina's betrayal and her wish for you to kill me. And he shared your very simple plan to impersonate a new guard shift tonight. Silver, clearly finishing his mocking of our stupidity and bad plan, he asked, I have to ask you, did you think that Katrina's voodoo could help you against me? Silver chuckled. Silver looked smug and full of hubris in that moment. He continued, first off, you saw all those Polynesian statues and tikis, talismans out there, right? You saw all that stuff. Those are all from the Polynesian god of war and protection, known as Ku, who protects this estate and everyone within it. And I both carry and wear Ku's talismans of protection. Katrina, that arrogant, silly voodoo woman, had no chance to ever touch me with her silly little dark black magic. Silver smiled, which seemed creepy and out of character, and he spoke further. There are many ways to tap and use magic and divine forces. Voodoo is only one way. I use many techniques and ways. And guess what? I won. She couldn't touch me. Yet, I could touch her. Well, tonight, you might say she has been voted off the island. You might say that I am the sole survivor. So again, I win. Silver shared some background. You know, Katrina was my partner when I first came to St. Lucia and the Caribbean. She was the cornerstone of crime and control here before I came onto the scene. Together, we expanded control across most of the Caribbean, even all the way to the West Indies. But I sensed early on that she would someday betray me. Well, I guess that day has now come. Silver's eyes became cold, like a wolf staring at its prey. He cleared his throat like a growl and a vicious snarl, and he resumed talking. Well, when I say that Katrina was voted off the island, that's a metaphor, because Katrina Vex is dead. She won't be double-crossing anyone, and certainly she won't betray me anymore. Sarah exclaimed, No! Then we won't learn anything more about my father allegedly being in hell, or how to find and help him at all. Anything Katrina knew, it died with her. Sarah began to whimper and sighed woefully as she went to silence. Helpless and trapped in our cage of lasers, tears dripped down Sarah's cheeks. Silver did not seem to care, though, that Sarah was upset at Katrina's death, or for the loss of information that Katrina took to her grave. The loss of information that Sarah would now never know. Silver just listened to Sarah as she jawed on and talked and spewed words. He listened as she mouthed words into the air that he, frankly, did not care one bit about in the least. Silver was visibly even annoyed that she took so much of his time, flapping her lips in jawing out those words. But Silver waited somehow, as if respectful and patient, until Sarah was done talking and making noise. And then Silver continued. Silver smiled suddenly, as if a new persona took hold of him. He explained, "Look, Rick, I know your life has been really crazy lately. I know that you've seen heaven and hell. I know you've seen things like devil cults and evil forces. I know you've even seen demons and had horrendous nightmares. And that you've seen all sorts of horrors that you never thought were possible." Silver looked empathetic, shockingly, and he said, "Look, Rick, I know this hell, heaven, demon stuff is all real. I know the Knights Templar are real. I know the devil and his cult of Bael are real. I know that you have a role in a divine prophecy." Silver continued, "And because of all of this, I am confident that you can unlock within Vatican City its secret underground vault where they store a sacred celestial relic that is called Cain's Goblet of Rejuvenation." Silver explained, "You see, Cain's Goblet refills itself perpetually with the blood of Cain. Drinking from Cain's Goblet restores a person to whatever age was their peak mental and physical prowess, and they can drink from the goblet as often, as many times as they like. Essentially, drinking from the goblet lets them live forever. It is akin to the fountain of youth." Silver explained, "With Cain's Goblet, I can ensure that I never die, at least not of old age or health problems, and therefore I can avoid dying, and avoid, otherwise I suspect, very likely, being damned to hell for all those things that I've done, that may have possibly earned myself a place in hell. I don't want to torment. I may have earned my place in hell 10 times over. Cain's Goblet will give me time to avoid going to hell." Silver emphasized, "At my age, with far fewer days ahead than those behind me, I need Cain's Goblet of Rejuvenation." Silver paused and he offered a deal. "If you all of you, swear to me before God that you will help me obtain Cain's Goblet of Rejuvenation, then I will release you, and I will return to you your stolen gear." Silver looked sly as he said, "Rick, I know a lot about you and your mission. I can be of help. I will help you retrieve the Hammer of Destruction and the Anvil of Creation. And yes, I know you need those relics to destroy the devil's Crown of Bael." Silver challenged, "Ask yourself, is it better to succeed in your quest, even if you must work with someone you despise and hate? Or is it better to fail in your quest alone and feel good about your prideful refusal to compromise? Also, you didn't help someone that you personally didn't like or hated." Sarah jumped in and she said, "Listen, I think that we should agree to work with your father. Silver is unfortunately right. It is our pride, and perhaps admittedly some sense of self-preservation, that is making us reject him instinctively." Sarah further suggested, "If your father knows where the hammer and anvil are, then we would benefit as much from his help as he would benefit from ours. And if he knows how to get into the Vatican's underground vaults, well, that is a help to us too. Katie sighed and reluctantly said, I agree with Sarah. It's not great, but it seems necessary. And he never knowingly lied to us, not once. Bob lamented, wow, we really are making deals, pacts, with a devil named Silver, so we can fight the devil named Lucifer. Taylor looked straight at me, into my eyes, intensely, and she just said, hoo-ah! I agreed, and I said, okay, we will help you, and you will help us. For now, you will be loyal, and you will be honest as part of our team. If you do anything wrong to us, or to harm our mission, I will, I swear, personally kill you. God knows. I will kill you if you betray us. Silver dismissively said, sure, whatever you say. The deal here is this. We have a formal agreement, as witnessed by heaven and hell, to help each other, to get the hammer of destruction and the anvil of creation, and to get into the Vatican vaults and claim the goblet of rejuvenation. Silver put his hand into his pocket, and he pulled out a smartphone. He clicked on a remote control app, and the cage lasers turned off, and just like that, we were free. Silver gestured to the 4 bodyguards, who still held shotguns trained on us, to disengage and let us go free. And they dutifully withdrew to the sides of the foyer, but still in readiness, but they had lowered their shotguns. Silver looked at us all and explained with a wry wink, we can all go together now to your plane that's parked in my airport, Silver Airlines, and on my beach. Just leave the sterling silver bodyguards Jeep behind. You can all fit better in my customized, armored, self-charging Tesla Cybertruck. Sterling Services Bodyguards was equivalent to Silver Services Bodyguards, or I suppose expanded to Sterling Silver Services Bodyguards. Silver had been flaunting, taunting, and advertising in everyone's faces his hubris and presence by using silver in his naming of many, many things that he owned. Like he owned and operated Sterling Silver Services Bodyguards, just like he advertised that he owned and operated the airport by using the name Silver Airlines and Silver Airways. In a weird way, it was like Silver's pride demanded that he let people know that he was the big man on campus, the BMOC, and that he was the big man, the man, in charge, the boss. In the end, I guess Silver, like a narcissist, was compelled to proudly advertise his ownership and his power through naming his companies after himself, even if indirect. Well, we all piled into Silver's Tesla Cybertruck, which still did not have enough seats. With Bob, Taylor, Sarah, Katie, and me, well, that was 5 people. Adding Silver, our driver, to the group put us 1 seat too few. And so Katie had to sit on Sarah's lap, who was not thrilled about it at all. But Taylor's glare of rejection ensured double sitting with Sarah was Katie's best choice. After our short drive from Silver's estate, we arrived at our RV cargo plane on the beach. To our surprise, there was a police car parked next to our plane. As we pulled up, a lone police officer emerged from the police car. As if he knew us, he just casually walked up to us as he approached. Silver pulled the Cybertruck right up next to the RV cargo plane, and he promptly got out of the truck. We likewise got out of the truck, and we took our gear, both current and our returned stolen gear. Silver approached the police officer with his empty hands plainly visible, and with his hands nowhere near a pocket, a radio, or a weapon. Silver called out to the officer, "Things are good. We're all good here." The officer walked toward Silver and nodded to him, clearly expressing the officer's subservience to Silver's authority as the big boss crime lord of St. Lucia, and acknowledging Silver's assurance that everything was okay. The officer walked right past Silver, and he walked straight up to me. The policeman sized me up from top to bottom. He was seemingly assessing my potential threat, and possibly making sure that I was who he thought I was. The officer, apparently confident in my identity, asked rhetorically in an islander accent, "Hey man, you are Rick Liberty, right? And this is your G-team, right?" The officer continued, "You be in big trouble. Videos of you from Irie Bar are everywhere, all over the web and net. And they have arrest warrants for your alleged killing of local woman Katrina Vex. Never mind, you supposedly are world-level fugitive and terrorist," he warned. "Many people are after you. Interpol World Police, US, FBI, CIA, and island law enforcement. They are all coming for you. They're gonna get you." The officer said, "They know where you are. They are coming for you. You have," he warned, "maybe a day, or it could be even hours, before they are here." Sarah declared, "Well, then let's get out of here, now." Bob just said, "Hoo-ah!" Katie nodded and said, "Hoo-ah!" Taylor grinned and said, "Great, back in the thick of it." And she just said, "Hoo-ah!" excitedly. I joined in and likewise said, "Hoo-ah!" Silver, apparently not knowing what hoo-ah meant, just said, "Let's go already. Time is of the essence. We don't need the company," he joked as he barked his decree, "Move now!" Taylor looked to Silver and commanded, in fury almost, "You are a passenger, barely a guest. Do not for one moment even think that you can order us around," she growled. "Do you understand?" Silver nodded in recognition, without saying a word. He saw clearly that Taylor was very formidable. She was potentially an equal force and threat, as he was, which was apparently something he respected, and maybe he even feared. Silver could tell that he should not offend or make Taylor into an enemy, and so Silver accepted that the former military special forces soldier Taylor may well be more deadly in a direct conflict than his own criminal, bully, powerhouse self. Silver recognized power when he saw it, and Silver knew when to fight and when not to fight, so that he would live on to fight another day. Silver was apparently a pragmatist when it came to his own survival. The officer shared more. "Look, man, I told you, they want you for murder of Katrina Vex, and they find her shot dead, encircled in salt, on the ground, shot in the head. Like I say, her body completely encircled in salt. Maybe the salt made her voodoo not protect her. They say you are to blame for Katrina's death, for her murder. Police say you killed Katrina in ritual, dark ritual. Things look bad for you. You gotta go. Get out of here. ASAP, you know?" The policeman explained, "I am helping you because I was there on the beach at the Irie Bar. I saw what happened. You were not the bad guys. I was there when you went to Silver Estate. Same time Katrina Vex was killed. So you could not have killed her. You could not have done it. And because I think no one can have so much stuff charged against them worldwide without some of it, if not all of it, being false or lies, I want to help you." The officer admitted with shame on his face, "I know too much about framing people and cover-ups. I have done enough of it, especially for Silver, the big boss. I've done it all myself and others too, you know. I think, they are trying to blame you and frame you for crimes that they did. The officer concluded by saying, the people of St. Lucia, they'd be better off now with both Crime Lord Silver and Voodoo Katrina Vex out of the picture. It ends, okay? It ends better for the island and all of its people. The officer added, please, keep Boss Silver away from here as long as possible. The people of St. Lucia and Caribbean, we will all benefit. Just keep him away, he implored. I replied to the officer, thank you for the faith and trust in us, and thank you for the heads up. Things have been crazy. I promise we'll get out of here right away, and we'll try to keep Silver busy with us, far away from the Caribbean and from St. Lucia. I thanked the officer and said, I know we all appreciate your going against the authorities to warn us of their coming. I concluded as we turned to leave, you, sir, are a good man. You have a heart of gold. Bob jumped in and snarked, okay, so the corrupt police officer who frames people, covers up crimes, oh yeah, he has a heart of gold. Right. Bob drifted off judgmentally. We boarded our RV cargo plane there on the beach, and Tiny greeted us. And to our shock and surprise, Amanda, my daughter, was there too. Amanda blurted out, Interpol, governments, and the FBI and NSA. They've been snooping around everywhere in St. George University. They've been making it impossible for me to go to school or even study. Well, details aside, I just had to get out of there. Taylor jumped in and said, you did the right thing, Amanda. Getting out of there, it helps you stay clear of trouble, and it keeps you safe by being with us. And of course, it also helps us by having you right here continue to manage and obfuscate our money and all of our transactions. And now you can even help us by going on missions, and you can help guard the plane too. Taylor smiled at Amanda and she concluded, it's great to have you here. It makes me happy. Amanda responded to Taylor and she spoke, I knew where you were and your plan. I knew where you're going to be because I handled and obfuscated all of your transactions just to get you here. I had to register your airplane. I had to pay for all your excursions. I had to do everything. And yeah, so it made it really easy to find you. Katie smiled and belted out happily, welcome to the team. We're thrilled to have you on board. Bob complained, I don't think that we have enough places for everyone to get a good night's sleep. No more comfortable sleeps for anyone, I guess, anymore. I closed it all a bit dismissively to Bob, but reassuringly and said, we will work it all out. I am glad you're here, Amanda. We all took our seats for takeoff, and Tiny taxied the plane to a runway, and the dual-prop cargo plane engines rumbled and roared. And vroom, we lunged forward, with the wheels and plane shifting and swaying in the sand as we raced faster and faster to take off from the very short runway. And soon, we were in the air. We maintained low altitude just above the ocean and waves to stay undetected under the radar as we left the island. We were finally headed to Prague. Bob observed, trying to sound intellectually well-read, and said, and we were in paradise, and now we are in Paradise Lost.